Okay, so we will start in 3 minutes. While everybody is joining, I will tell a brief overview of our today's webinar. Welcome. My name is Kate. Today I'm going to tell you a bit of unit economics, as we use it here in JetStyle Digital Agency as a method of for decision making and profit increase. So I will explain some basics, tell some examples from the project, and in the second part of the webinar, Polina Bynova from Ridero will join us to tell about the usage of this tool in product development. And we are also lucky enough to have Eugene Kuznetsov. He's a digital strategist in JetStyle. He will answer your questions in the chat. So please do not hesitate to ask anything you want to know. So here at JetStyle, we are in Yekaterinburg, Russia. By the way, where are you from? Text me in the chat. Okay. So we use unit economical approach from both digital agency and client side who handles his finances. And we use the approach at all the work. By the way, I feel more and more surprised for how little popular unit economical approach is in digital, although it seems to me very clear and easy to understand and maximally useful. By the way, we will have time to look at this only for e-commerce market, and I'm sure your market may be different. Please contact me, email me, and we provide a free consultation after the webinar. Please send requests. So the main question for unit economics is what do we scale? So profits or losses? Let's speak about the word to scale. Everything we do in digital can be reduced to the following formula, right? So we need to find a balance in creating users' value, channel that delivers this value, and make as much money as possible to come through this channel. That means we scale success. Sometimes unit economics provides us with the equal costs, and this is how we can see that our experiments are not losses, but we do not make profit either. I'm sure some of you are acquainted with these terms and some are not, so I will explain the basics. On one part of the formula we have one customer operating profit. We take this operating profit per one customer and subtract the customer acquisition cost. So in general, you need to make sure this amount is above zero, or it is clear that if the amount you are having is slightly above zero, it doesn't mean that your business is profitable. But the understanding that you have reached the value helps a lot. So when we have economics like this, we can tell that our digital experiments are paying off. By the way, in classic digital developers, they are focused on the right part of the formula, right? So in customer operating profits. And they assume that the client's expenses are not the business of digital marketing. But when you have a closer look on the both parts, you learn that the previous statement wasn't true, because the decisions made on both parts of the formula affect the whole business. Let's dig a bit deeper. What does the operating profit on one client mean? The example you see is from e-commerce market, because it is the most simple example to explain unit economical approach, and we'll start with it. We have an average price. We sell something to the customer, subtract the cost of goods sold here in the breaks. So we have here in the breaks, we have the margin. That is how much do we earn on one particular customer. When I speak of the cost of goods sold, I mean the expenses connected only with the transaction, right? So something connected with the transaction directly. The expenses connected with the acquisition of the customer are not included here, and they are placed in the second part of the formula. Okay, so here we have a retention, which multiplies our numbers by as many times as it occurs. The whole story is called lifetime client value or average revenue per paying customer, per paying user, whatever. So you may be acquainted with some other popular terms, but the primary goal is to learn how to calculate that we earn anything on this particular customer. Okay, let's go down to the costs. The second part of the formula is also very simple, right? We have a visitor acquisition and some conversion funnel steps. The transaction is rarely made with only one step. At least we have two. For example, in this e-commerce, we count a conversion into a contact and a conversion into a transaction. And together they provide us with the amount of expenses for the customer acquisition. So it also can be called cost per paying user and customer acquisition costs. It doesn't matter. Again, there are a lot of different terms. Okay, so let's look at the total formula. It looks like this. It consists of the operating profit per customer on one hand and of the customer acquisition costs on the other hand. You can see the average profit, subtract cost of goods sold, multiplied by the retention on the left. There is a customer acquisition cost divided into conversion. So the total amount, again, should be above zero. Since it is above zero, we can afford a digital marketing channel and the investment will return. So this is the whole idea. Okay, if you have any questions, please ask, and I will go further to the examples. So imagine that we are having a DIY shop, internet shop, online shop, and the average price of the transaction is about 64 euros. We have some margin, some average retention is 1.5. That means some customers buy 3 times and some customers buy only once. So the cost per click is average in 41 cents, and total conversion rate, I mean total funnel conversion rate is slightly above 1%. This provides us with the profits. Let's calculate it over here by the formula. Can you remember it? Yes, it's on the bottom. 20 or somehow 30 euros, right? So let's look at the. Okay, so do you remember the numbers? Let's put it here. Imagine we have like 100,000 visitors somewhere on our e-shop. Okay, and the cost per click is 41 cents, and we have like 2% of visitors will give us some emails or register somehow on the website, and let's say some of them will place an order and some will not. So the average price of purchase is 64 euros minus 19. We have a good margin, and okay, so some will return. So as you can see, for better talking and understanding the unit economics approach, we've developed an online calculator. So today at the webinar, we would like to find out if it is useful for you. Please give your feedback. By the way, I will just share the link to the to this in the chat over here. This is a free tool to calculate your unit economics. So let's make the calculation again. So I remember the retention is 1.5. So here we have the profit per one paying user. You can see the calculation and the formula over here at the bottom again. And let's look at the metrics. So these two are very important, the most important numbers in our formula. They indicate the following. If nothing changes, we cannot afford to acquire a customer above this price, to acquire a visitor to our website above this price, and a customer should be cheaper than this. Otherwise, everything will be ruined, right? So now we pay only 41 cents for the user, and we can afford some other channels, some maybe more targeting to improve. Actually, as a digital agency, we use this model to predict how the changes in design, user acquisition, marketing activities improve the vital metrics. And we make sure that no unwanted changes will be caused. Actually, our agency is a full-stack digital production now, but we are user experience designers in the background. By the way, speaking about designers' background, we see unit economics as some digital form to express the user flow, right? So every decision in digital can be made with the help of these numbers. When a future customer comes to us with a project request, we recommend to make a rough unit economical model and calculate it, because even a rough model helps a lot, and it is better than no model at all. So let's have another example. All right, from the e-commerce, and I will show you some more numbers. So let's say we have another e-shop or selling something simple, right, like diapers, pampers for the babies. We acquire some, again, 100,000 customers, and we get some context advertising and pay, for example, 25 cents per one click. So somehow we obtain the visitor's contact, yeah, and he is ready to contact us. Maybe he or she registers, check-in, gives email, is agreed to receive some notifications, for example. So you know how it happens. And if our landing page is completely fine, every 3 or 4% will try to place an order. Let's imagine we have a great, optimistic, great user experience on our e-shop, and there only will be 30% of abandoned carts, so the 70% will convert to the next step. The diapers are very low marginal products, so we sell by 20, maybe. I don't know how much is the packet of diapers in Europe, but let's imagine 22 euros, maybe 2 packets or so, and we buy it for 20 euros, right? So if the customer has only one transaction, we are not getting any profit at all. So how can we make this business a success? Do you have any ideas? Okay, so the first obvious idea is to improve the retention somehow, improve the conversion rate somehow, right? So if we request no contacts at all at the registration, maybe our conversion rate on the first step will grow, for example, to the 7%. Okay, but still, if the margin is so little, it's only 2 euros here, the business is not profitable, right? So we have these losses. What else can be done? Okay, let's sacrifice this conversion and get some contacts. Okay, comes like this. This won't be changed. I think this number is optimistic. We will make some activities and maybe some will return. Okay, or even 3 times. Yeah, still no profit, not a business, but the losses are less now. Well, what else can be done? Let's look at the whole picture and think what numbers should be increased. Yeah, it would be a very great idea to increase this number, right? The average price. But the market will not allow us. So if we increase these prices, like we will make profit, but this number will be like 0 and no one will buy. So this story can happen. Let's return. Okay, we'll lose the whole business. We don't want this. We decide to change the first conversion. For example, we can do something about this. What can be done? So we can study our sales statistics, find out something more about our customers. For example, if we are targeting on in context advertising on every customer that looks for diapers, we can target like only on women, target on age, or on the daytime, on the week time, something we can improve our advertising campaign, right? So this will be reduced to 45,000, yeah. So if we are targeted, and also our cost per click will increase because the targeted audience is much more expensive, and let's say we did a great job, and this conversion rate will increase also to 5%. This whole story is also very optimistic, and of course the retention also grows. So at last we are making profits. How much? This much. Okay, so this was an example how we use the calculator for decision making. If you have questions, please text in the chat. So what should be done? What should be important to understand here? So every change we make in every parameter require some digital activities. And you can find out if the increase of one parameter, for example, like retention, may lead to any unwanted changes of some other parameters. So everything should be calculated very carefully. So what else do we have here? For example, we can see the budget. This budget is calculated for the lifetime to attract all the 45,000 visitors to our site. We also can see the margin, the lifetime value from the customers, and we see the revenue, including the cost of goods, gross profit, and so on. So we have a lot of numbers here. If you need some other numbers, please also reach me on Facebook, text me, email me, and we will add some other metrics here. Okay, so the last two ideas I would like to share with you. So everything we do in digital can be estimated in terms of unit economical approach. So your designers, your developers, and marketing teams need to understand the effect of changes, implement somehow these changes in your business formula, right? So please remember it. And the second thought is, when you make some digital experiment, you need to have tools, right, to measure the outcome of your experiment. You need to react and improve it immediately. Otherwise, the losses will be also big and have dramatic effect. Okay, so now we're going to have Polina Bynova from Ridero to explain some examples on product development with the use of the calculator. Please do not leave. We will stop just for a minute to change the speakers, and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see that you can hear me well. And so we start. I was asked by my colleagues from JetStyle to tell you about the examples of using unit economics in an everyday job of a marketing team. And first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Polina, and I work as a Chief Marketing Officer in Ridero. This company specializes in creating books. Actually, we make a lot of books every day. You being in Europe might know a lot of examples of such companies such as Lulu.com, Blob, Kindle Direct Publishing. And actually in Russia, Ridero makes the same, but for Russian-speaking audience. And I can tell you for sure that here in Russia, we are actually the first and the best. But we operate not only in Russia, but also we are making our way in Europe for about 2 years, and we have some experience to share. And here I can say that unit economics, which is actually my professional religion as a marketing director, it is very useful in evaluating efficiency of all the campaigns. Kate has told you about using unit economics while drawing KPIs to the advertising campaigns. I can tell you about 2 other cases of performing unit economics in the referral traffic. That is some projects with partners that we have made in Europe, mostly in Poland actually. But first I should tell you about the adoption of the content throughout Europe, because we have come across a lot of difficulties connected with that. That is, besides the English language, we work with the Polish, the German language, and Latvian. So each and every language presupposes that you work with different audience, that they always have some different cultural background and different habits and customer behavior. And you are supposed to know each and every peculiarity of these audiences. So if you operate in English language and you want to just enlarge your market share using some geographical expansion, like in Germany, you should adopt your content for German language. That is, the unit economics formula Kate has shown you doesn't show the outer KPIs, which is CTR, click-through rate from the advertisement systems and whatnot. But still, if you show the ads in English to the people who speak and who make their queries in German, the KPIs will be lower, really lower. So when you work throughout Europe, you should find some really high-skilled specialists who are not only good at digital skills, but they also should be aware of all those cultural peculiarities. Well, for example, here in Russia we have, and that also concerns the English-speaking audience, mostly in the UK. We have come across of such a thing that English-speaking audience and Russian-speaking audience, they are eager to just fill in some forms in the sites, and they want to do all the things in the service automatically. As for Germany and Poland, vice versa, people in Germany and in Poland, they prefer calling you, and they want some live people just to talk to you on the phone. So that thing is very important when you're planning the whole strategy and when you look at the figures within the unit economics. So that is just a very important thing I wanted to say before we move on to the example. I have told you that I just cannot show you the real figures from the advertisement campaigns, but I can tell you that simultaneously, we are operating with our marketing team about 200 different advertising campaigns, and unit economics actually is the only thing that lets us just keep everything in mind and do not lose the control of it all. It's really a lot of work, and those simple figures, those simple formula, they help us just be efficient. The whole formula is based on the common sense, actually, the cost per acquisition minus the revenue, and actually you see the profits. So I can tell you about the two partners projects. They are very different. They are not the everyday understanding of advertisement, such as, for example, search advertising in Google AdWords. They are about different audiences. And here I just can call you to look at those unit economics not only as figures, but understand that under those figures there are always live people. And before you go to this or that segment, you should understand how they are going to perform. That is, you need to have a hypothesis on that. And then those simple figures, they can just prove it or let you know that it doesn't work as soon as possible. So it's the helping tool for you, but not actually the only thing for you. So we thought of the following project. We have partners. Well, I can show you this. Now I just need to share screen. Yes, and I would like you to tell me if you can see my screen in a minute. So, first of all, I will tell you about the project. The first one is wolnylektury.pl. Actually, this is a very big project, which was thought to be a very large-scale PR project. That is the major site in Poland specializing in the children's literature, and it's in a very tight partnership with the education, with the Ministry of Education of Poland. And so we came to them and suggested that we should conduct a contest, a literary contest for children, where they just create their books within Ridero, and we conduct a kind of votation for those works, and after that the books are published in the online stores and they can be printed out and whatnot. This very site has a real great user acquisition. There are a lot of people coming here, more than 5 million a month, if I'm not mistaken. All the children and all the parents of the children learning in schools, they come here to get some tasks and whatnot, and to just to look through the books, to take public domain books, and well, I just can see our public domain books here on the main page on this site right now. So we just announced the contest, literary contest here in Polina Lecture, and so we acquired a lot of traffic from there, and we really did not know how it's going to convert to be to pay to us, how profitable that project is for us. That was actually interesting, but we understand that it's a PR project and we didn't wait too much profit from that. And it went like that. I just will show you on our online calculator. Kate have already shown you. Well, first of all, I need to take note that make note that I'm not using the real figures. I'm just giving you examples. That is, I have no right to show you real figures in that. So there were a lot of people coming from this very site. The campaign was very major. It was almost free for us because it was a partnership actually, and so I will put the about €1 excuse me, now I see, as a CPC, because we really had very few costs for these very projects, for acquiring the audience actually. So the conversion rate, the first conversion rate, which corresponds to the registration rate within Ridero, was very, very high. That is, children who were asked to participate in the contest, who were promised to have a lot of prizes for that, and the teachers who also participated and drove them just to take part in the competition. So all of these gave us the very high conversion rate into the registration. It was about 15%, which is really very high. Those marketers who perform every day with the conversion rates would agree that it's just the spacious conversion rate. So we got really a lot of new registrations, but they were from children, and the conversion rate too, which corresponds to the payment in our service, was very, very low. Just imagine the situation where a young person from learning in school creates a book to participate in the contest, and then he just has a book, he or she just has a book and doesn't know what to do with that. Some of them actually asked their parents, for example, to pay for the book, and that gave us some of the conversion rate too, but it was really very, very low, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I just put it like I feel. I might be mistaken, actually. So, as for the average price, those children, they were trying to print out a book which was very small and which was very which was made very fastly, and so the average price was quite low for something like that. And as for the cost of goods, which are the manager's time spent for support of those customers, it was vice versa quite high, and the costs were just much higher than our average cost for goods. And actually there was only one time when they come to us. So you see the result here. I won't scroll it down for the for the results case have shown you already. But the whole situation showed us that actually we were in a very safe negative zone from the point of view of losses. But still we understand that it's a PR project, and well, that was indicative for us, and we were waiting for that, but still felt a little upset, of course, because we lost a lot of money, actually. And then goes the second year. This one is the first contest with Wolny Lektury in Poland took place in 2016, and then came the next year. And Wolny Lektury, the project, just came to us and say, hey, it was a great success. All the audience just liked it very much. Children are just very would be very glad to participate a second time, and of course we decided to repeat it, but still we understand that there are some mistakes, there were some mistakes, and we could do it more efficient. So actually what has happened? First of all, this very part of the formula, just let's let's state the same. But first of all, we understand that those school guys who come another time to us, the second time, they just changed very very dramatically changed the retention rate. That is, they just came the second time without any costs for acquisition. And so our retention rate looked, well, for example, something like that. So the result is quite different. And then we understand that all those who came another time, they just made this with the costs because they knew what to do. And then we have a very successful project for the second year of performance. That's a great thing to evaluate not only the advertisement campaigns, but actually such projects that you cannot evaluate. Usually it's very difficult to evaluate the efficiency of such projects, of PR projects and whatnot. If you draw the KPIs to the unit economics, that actually is very indicative and very useful actually for your business. That's the first case. It's up with it. If you have any questions, I can answer you right now. Well, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them later. And I'll move on to the second example. The very different example with elderly people in Poland, not school guys, but this site is for actually retired people in Poland. It's a kind of community for those who don't work, and this whole site is about the medicines and the healthcare and some leisure time for the retired. And we decided that it's a great idea just to make a partnership with them and to suggest that elderly people from Poland could publish their memoirs, their diaries, and whatnot. So we just came to them and put some banners and made the cross promo with them just to get some audience. So we were not advertising some free contests, or it was not that vivid from the social point of view. So it just was the idea to publish their diaries and memoirs. So I'll come back to the unit calculator and we'll show you how it looks like, well, as far as I can remember. We got very few people from there, something like that. No more. Actually, we were limited by the natural audience, the natural traffic from the platform Senior Pro, and so that was actually the 200 people we get there from there monthly. No more, unfortunately. Unlike the children, that costed us quite more, something like that. So you see that profit per paying user just goes down dramatically. What goes next? The conversion rate number one, which is registration rate. It was also very low. 15% was about the children who were participating in the contest. And here we have elderly people who come to our site, and they sometimes it's difficult for them to understand what to do. They're not that quick as a school children. So the conversion rate was really lower than our average conversion rate in the site, something like that. The conversion rate into registration. But what goes on with the conversion rate number two, which is conversion into payment? Actually, those people, those retired people who managed to come to the line where they want to order the ready-made book, they were very eager to pay for us, and they had money, and they were very interested in having the result of their work. So this conversion rate, vice versa, was the highest throughout our service, and it was about 10%. I'm just putting the figure just for you to see the round figures. So, and you see that profit is just great. Average price was also, well, I will put it like that. It was high. Actually, it was higher than average, but nothing very special. Costs were also more or less average. I'll take it like that. But actually, they published their memoirs, and it's very difficult to draw them back into the service. So this is the conversion rate. This is a very safe and sound figure for us to show that we have a lot of profit per each and every paying user. What's the problem with that? Actually, we cannot just make more of them. The next step to do is just to understand that this very segment of elderly people perform well. And the next step is just to find new sites and find new resources where we can find them. Because we try to do that within Facebook or Google adverts. These people, they are quite blind to the banners and to the direct advertising. They should see the information about us within the media they are accustomed to, actually. So this is the limit. So the problem of the segment, it is very small. The second thing is not actually the problem, but the possibility for us, because if we suggest that they could publish the book of, for example, fairy tales for their kinder children, so the retention rate might raise. And this very segment is very good for to work with the retention rate, because even if you put the retention rate, well, plus 20% of people retaining to the service, you see that the profit for paying user increases, well, greatly, actually, about 40–50% higher than it was. So that's the second example. It isn't just dramatically different from the children, but it shows you greatly that you can work not only with the paid traffic from Google and Facebook within unit economics, which is absolutely necessary for a modern marketer to understand it within the paid traffic. But you can also evaluate the efficiency of some partners projects and some referral traffic, and just keep an eye on all those figures and you'll know what to do next, because that drives you to new hypotheses and new experiments, and that's a great thing to do for a marketer. So here I am with my examples. I hope that was useful, and I'm ready to answer your questions together with Kate. Thank you very much. Well, okay. If we have no questions, I'm very grateful for everyone who has come and who was with us for this hour. I do uh, advise you to go to use the link Kate has given you earlier for this very calculator, online calculator. It's absolutely free. It can show you a lot of things about your campaigns. You can put your real figures within the gaps in this formula, and you'll see how well you operate your advertisement campaigns. That's a great and very useful tool. Just use it. We never know your real figures. That's absolutely safe concerning the GDPR coming to the life tomorrow. You just come and use it, and we are really pleased to see that it's interesting for you all, and we are ready to help you. Just contact us, contact Kate in Facebook, or use the email, and we'll help you. We'll definitely answer all your questions if you find them, because I can see no questions in the chat right now. Hope everyone is playing with the calculator.